What's up, everybody, and welcome back to GG Gaming Podcast. I'm Andrew, and I'm your host and player one, and I don't really have a player two today. Before we get into it, I just wanted to talk about what's been going on. The podcast is not canceled. I didn't have any intention of canceling it. Just seems every time I get a co-host, they get busy. Nothing against that. Nothing against the co-hosts. You know, things come up in life. Kiba got very busy with his projects, and I was looking for another co-host for a while. And then I realized while listening to some other podcasts, some people just do things solo, and I figured I could do solo, and here and there when Kiba or somebody else has free time, they could join in as player two. This way, instead of continuously going on hiatus or waiting on other people, I figured it might just be easiest to just go do a weekly show and have somebody join in when they can, and when they can't, then it's just me. So, with that said, what I've been up to lately, well, God, I don't even remember what the last thing was. Last thing we talked about, I don't quite remember what was going on at the time because I don't even remember how long ago that was. But what's been going on in my life, not to bore anybody, not to get into too much detail, just been studying new skill sets and programming. I've been drawing some more of my own comic series, Spirit Legends. Plug, go take a look at that. Doing some artwork for some hopefully upcoming video games, and I say hopefully not because nothing's going wrong with them or anything, but they take a long time because they're not large-scale video games, but more independent projects. One of them I'm doing a promotional 2-page comic for in the format of the old Nintendo Power comics, and been doing some artwork for another video game, and because they're all from the same person, the same small team, you know, one thing gets delayed and we go on to the next thing, and whatever is going to come out first, we're supposed to have something out for Halloween, and I believe it's going to get postponed to November. I have no idea if I'm allowed to talk about it or not. I probably am, but I don't want to talk about it and then get told, oh, you shouldn't, I didn't want you to say anything. So maybe next time I'll talk about it if I get the confirmation that I can. But other than that, video game wise, again, I don't quite remember where I left off, or I should say I don't quite remember what the last thing was that I talked about playing, but I do know that I've played a lot since then. The most recent things that pop out in memory, I got back to Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key. I don't know why. It's funny that whenever I get back to this game, I just so happen to be doing the podcast. And I wound up leaving the party that I was in because they were very inactive. And there was one member who was active, and they had gotten promoted to, I guess, the head of the party. I'm not quite sure how the party system works, but they had gotten promoted to the head of the party. And they didn't even know. They were like, oh, I guess I'm the head of the party now. And I'm guessing that's because the people who were in charge probably left because it was just a very inactive party. I winded up joining another party, and I don't quite recall if this is exactly the name, but it was something similar to Datascape Demons, and since I was not used to the fact that a party was actually active, so it was crazy that, to me, that people were responding, people were playing, which was fun. So that's why I actually got hooked back into it. I was like, well, people are playing, and I'm having fun now. I suppose that's probably why I dropped out of it originally, because I wasn't really playing with anybody. People's medals, I don't know if you guys, if you're familiar with it or not. I'm just going to talk as if you guys are not too familiar, so I'll explain a little bit. Unless I already spoke about it a lot last time. But if you're new to this show, this is, I guess you can, I don't want to say this is a season 2, first episode of season 2, because I really just wanted this to be an ongoing show. But back to Kingdom Hearts. Oh, when you're in a party, everybody can pick a medal. And the medals are what you attack with. You level them up, different types of attacks. They could give a status ailment if you upgrade that. It's actually gets into a really complicated system that I'm just recently learning more about. Now I'm kind of stumbling only because I'm looking at the game at the same time, because I pulled it out to use as a reference, and lo and behold, it wound up distracting me. Yeah, let me put that down. So, you can assign a medal. You get up to 5 medals in your wheel. That's how you wind up attacking. You choose a medal. Very similar to the Chain of Memories combat system, but you choose a medal. But you can actually I don't want to say customize, but to an extent customize and upgrade said medals. You can choose it to share with your party. So when you're in a party, everybody's chosen medal becomes available for you to use as a bonus 6th medal in your quests. Aside from, I believe the Colosseum's the only exception, because that's testing your skills only. So it was interesting to see a bunch of medals in a party that were way stronger, because these were people that were actually active and continuing to play, as opposed to the original party I was in that died out, and the medals were old and a lot of them were weak. So I had a lot of fun, and I felt like I was making new friends, and I have no idea why, but I found myself outside of the party. Did I get kicked? Did the party get disbanded? Did somebody accidentally kick me? I can't search for the party. There's no search feature that allows you to type in a specific party. And I don't know if there's a blocking system, because I couldn't find Datascape demons. That's if that's what they were called. I don't remember. I probably shouldn't be throwing them under the bus, but if I did get kicked, then hey, what the hell, man? I don't know if there's a blocking system or not. I can't even find them when I refresh through them, and I figured, there's going to be thousands of these parties, so I'm probably not going to find them. But then I kept finding a couple that kept showing up again. I'm like, is there only a small number of like the highest rank parties? Because I believe they're in the diamond tier, which again I believe is probably the highest. So I was like, what the hell is going on here? So then I saw I had some invitations to join some new parties, and I saw 2. It was Pokemasters and something else I don't quite remember, but I wound up joining Pokemasters, and they seem to be welcoming so far. Why I was kicked, assuming I was kicked, I have no idea. I was talking really friendly with everybody, and they were talking friendly with me. Your typical, oh, haha, that's nice. You guys gonna be on? They'd say to me, I'd be like, I'm on, whatever. Your typical party speak. I can't even think of examples because, I don't know, that's stupid. But anyway, they winded up updating the game, added more story scenarios. It took me till, what quest number am I on now? Let me double check. I have my phone right here. Story. Let's see, story. I'm on 434 right now, and just recently they added more past 475. I'm having fun with the story, but I don't understand why it took almost 400, maybe 350 quests just to get into like the big story, and where I finally met this character named Ephemer, however it's pronounced. And I'm just like, why didn't I meet this guy? Maybe I met him sooner, I don't remember. But like, why did it take so long for the story to kick in? And that's what pulled me in a bit more too. But I also started learning about how to make your medals stronger, and it just kind of got more fun for me. So yeah, that, and I was doing the weekend raid, and that really pulled me in too, because I just kept going up in level. I'm now 201, and I was able to unlock more outfits and stuff. And one of the things that I find with mobile games, or at least this one, probably a lot of mobile games are like this, but they have this thing where they have a lot of limited time events, and I saw some people with some avatars of Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, of course, but the Kingdom Hearts version, so he had the wing. So I saw at least one person with that wing. I'm like, that's a really, really freaking cool wing. I want that on my character. And I asked the people in the last party I was in that I got kicked from, I guess. I'm just going to assume I got kicked because, hey, I don't know. But I was wondering, how do you get this? And they're like, oh, I guess you gotta level up more. And then somebody probably looked it up for me, and they're like, oh, it was a limited time event. I'm like, damn it, I wanted that wing. So cool. Right now I got this vampire mask, which is basically, I think the shape or the design must be, I'm just going off of memory, but it must be designed off of one of those bats that Ansem had used in the final battle in the first Kingdom Hearts. I don't remember what they were called. I think they were considered heartless. Well, obviously, my computer, I might as well check. But yeah, if anybody, I don't know who listens to this that I'm actually like good friends with, but if you are friends with me, you know that Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite series of all time, and up there with a lot of others. Up there with one of the other things that I want to talk about today. I feel like I'm going rapid, like I got a lot to say, but I don't want to get everything out in one episode and then next week be like, well, I don't really have a lot to talk about. But just talking fast because that's me, and I guess I'm by myself today. But one of my other favorite series is Pokemon, and I wanted to talk about this a lot more in depth last time. And then, we didn't get out new episodes, and now I decided, let me try and do this solo, get this out myself. Now, the game is coming out in a week, and some people already have the game and are leaking stuff online, and I'm really trying to stay away from those leaks, but the one thing I don't want to stay away from is seeing the new Pokemon. And some of them are really cool, and I wanted to know what the heck those Ultra Beasts were. And I'm not going to talk about spoilers because I know some people don't want to be spoiled, and I respect that. Props to you for having the God, I don't even know what I'm thinking. The not guts, the strength. Have the strength to not spoil things for you. I just have a habit of spoiling things for myself, whether purposefully or not purposefully. But I'm totally gonna get Moon because Lunala looks really cool. Solgaleo looks really cool too, but I'm just feeling Moon. Plus, I hear that if I'm understanding correctly, in Moon, during the day it's nighttime, and during the night it's daytime. And because I typically am a night owl, every time I've played Pokemon in the past, the game has always been nighttime because I'm playing at night and it's nighttime in the game. And I figured as a bonus, playing Moon, I'll be playing during the day in the game when I play at night. So it'll be a nice setting actually having the sun when I play. Plus, I know a lot of people think the midnight form of Lycanroc is quote unquote edgy, or a Sonic the Hedgehog fan character. But I like that character. I like that design. Maybe it goes hand in hand with the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog is one of my favorite series. But I like the Lycanroc midnight form. It's got a very Lucario, Mewtwo, Zoroark feel to it. Your typical bipedal Pokemon of the generation. And I really like its design. And it's interesting that it stays rock type for both forms. I thought I was going to think that regardless if they did form or separate split evolution, I would have assumed Lycanroc's midday form would be rock, but maybe rock fairy, or the rock form, but midnight would be different. That's what I'm thinking. Midnight, I thought for sure was going to be rock dark. I was like, Rockruff is dark. Rockruff is rock. So the two forms of Lycanroc, I was thinking, well, the nighttime is gonna be rock dark. Like, it has to be. And I was surprised to find out that they were both just rock. The midnight form was rock. The midday form was rock. Like, wow. So I don't quite remember if the stats differed. I'm sure they do, because it would be sort of strange to just be that appearance that's different between the forms and then have everything else exactly the same. But I really like that design. When I play through the stories, like the main story or the main game, I don't focus on the intense competitive battle versions of Pokemon. I don't think to myself, oh, I gotta reset this until I get the right nature and stuff. I worry about that afterwards, when I'm done with the story and I'm done playing the main game, and then I want to go into the competitive battling scene. I got a team of competitive Pokemon to use for for online battling, but when I play through the main story, I like just go with my favorite Pokemon, and Lycanroc Midnight Form looks to be one of my favorites. I was a Popplio bro from the beginning, and I still think I'm gonna stick with Popplio after seeing I'm thinking these are the pronunciations, Brione or Brione, and Primarina. And I say Primarina and not Primarina because why would it not be Marina? It's like the real life word Marina, unless I'm pronouncing that wrong. But you know, the water related word Marina. It's got to be Primarina, like prima donna Marina. Like, come on. I can understand saying Primarina because of the actual name Marina and because of Pokemon like Nidorina, but I'm pretty sure the intention behind it is Primarina. So I'm going to call it Primarina until proven wrong. So Primarina is Water Fairy. And I think that's pretty cool, except now I also want to use Greninja because of the Ash Greninja form. And I'm like, I don't want to have... Number one, I don't want to have two water types on my team. Not that there's anything bad with two water types, but I wanted to mix it up. And two, Greninja is an older gen Pokemon. And I kind of want to dabble with some newer Pokemon. Greninja's pretty cool. I started with Greninja when I played X, and I like Greninja. Or I started with Froakie, I should say. But Greninja was my starter in X, and I like Greninja. And I thought it'd be cool to use the ability Battle Bond so I can play with Ash Greninja, which is strange. I guess Ash exists in some form in that world. But I didn't want to rely on two water starters. I was thinking if I started with Rowlet or Litten, then I would probably use Greninja, but I don't know. Chances are I won't be able to use Greninja anyway until I level up far enough, because he's probably going to be level 30 or 40 or whatever level he's in the demo. And I think in the demo he might be 36 or 37 where I left off. But yeah. I'm going to stick, I think right now, the ones I want to use are Popplio, eventually Primarina, so that's Water Fairy. I want to use Lycanroc Midnight Form, which is Rock. So I got the Water and Fairy covered, and I got the Rock covered. Then another one with a cool design that grew on me was Serena. And I don't know if the T in it is probably silent, so it's probably just Serena. Which oddly enough is just grass. It's I would have thought it would be grass fighting, but no, it's a grass type, a kicking grass Pokemon that's not fighting. What's up with that? I don't quite know what other three I want to use. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to use Serena and Lycanroc until much later. I know you get Rockruff early on, I believe. It looked like you get him in the beginning. But who knows? Who knows? But Serena seems kind of cool. Was it Bounce Sweet is the first one? There's a lot of cool designs in this gen. There's also a lot of designs that I'm not feeling too much. Uh, One of the things I don't want to say is some of the names of some of the leaked Pokemon because I don't want to get into spoilers, but it seems like there's 8 Ultra Beasts, and I it's either 8 or 10. I'm pretty sure it's 8, and I don't want to talk about them because again, this goes into spoiler territory. But I believe the newest Korokoro just leaked 2 of them. I believe it is, according to people who've played the game, it's the Ultra Beast code names are Blade and Blaster. The actual Pokemon names that they're given, and again, I don't know if how it works in the story. I don't know if they're given Pokemon names after their Ultra Beast names. I don't know, but I don't want to say them because, again, I've said this like a million times. Spoiler territory. But yeah, they seem pretty cool. One of them or a couple of them seem really cool. Like, whoa, this design is ridiculous. One of them was in the Korokoro leak where it took up the 2-page spread, and he looks like he's jumping forward. He's got like this prism design. It looks almost like some kind of triangle or something like that. But when I've seen the model, his body to me looks like some kind of head of a dragon that's almost looking down, and where the neck would be is cut off. And I don't know if that was done on purpose or accident, but it was a neat thing that I saw. The green looking Ultra Beast that was in the scan that leaked, I think it was last night, not today, or 2 days ago. A lot of people are calling it, saying that it's got like a bamboo. I guess the arms look like bamboo, like green bamboo, but honestly, to me, it looks more like a satellite or some kind of NASA spaceship launching. I see those hands to me look more like missiles than bamboo sticks. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe I'm the one who's weird. I don't know. One of the things I'm not quite sure if I should do here is, I listened to a few, like a small handful of podcasts. A couple of them are like pretty bent on not cursing, and some of them they constantly curse. And I'm not necessarily against cursing. If you've listened to past ones, you probably already know that. But I also don't want to get trashy. So I was going to say, I don't know what the fuck. But yeah, the designs look pretty cool. The Ultra Beasts look pretty cool. All the characters' designs look pretty cool so far. And what's pretty strange to me, some of the Ultra Beasts resemble some of the characters in the game. And who knows if that was intentional or not. But again, I didn't look into the story because I don't want to get spoiled. But I feel like they might not have any connection to those people that they look like. And I could be completely wrong because I didn't look at the story. But who knows? Who knows? Yep. I'm pretty excited for that game. I don't know if I'm gonna play competitively afterwards just based on a lot of crap that I'm doing. Chances are I will. I'll at least try to catch them all because, gotta catch them all. Which makes me think of Pokemon Go. They recently started prepping out updates for the 2nd gen. And you know what? I don't know what to think. I was really into Pokemon Go for a while, and I don't know what's going on with it now. People just drop it off because they're not interested. I wonder, should Niantic have waited till they had more than just 1% of their final ideas in the game and have waited to get a really final solid game before pumping it out? Or do you think that this would have happened anyway? Do you think that it just would have eventually fell off the face of the earth like it did. Which is pretty sad because I'm a big fan of Pokemon. I hate to see Pokemon go the way it went. But hopefully it comes back. Hopefully they do something. If they could get, I don't know how they would be able to do this, but if they could get the battle system to be anything like the system in the game, then that would be awesome, because that would be your portable competitive Pokemon. But I don't think that Game Freak would allow Niantic to take over that. I feel like Game Freak would want to do that themselves and really have a hold on the competitive aspect. I just realized I'm kind of lounging in my chair, and I'm probably a bit far from the mic. A bit closer here. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird doing a podcast by yourself because I know it's doable. I've listened to the Bill Burr podcast. He does it by himself. Every once in a while, his wife would join in. And I always like when there's a second person there. But apparently a lot of people like that method or that style of one person talking. I know there's a lot of YouTubers who talk to the camera one-on-one. The only difference is those people are doing a visual show, so they can do visual gags. I'm kind of stuck with the audio only. Not that that's a bad thing. People, you got to adapt to your own medium, but I also want to be informative. I also want to talk about my opinions of the games coming out. And because I haven't really done a strict schedule of this, I don't want to fall into the, like what I was saying before, I don't want to fall into the situation of not having anything to talk about. And one of the things I've been considering was for these episodes where I'm by myself, since I have nobody to bounce conversation off of, what I might wind up doing is also talking about other interests. And I know this is primarily a video game podcast, but what if I start talking about other things like anime and manga, or comics, or cartoons, or movies, TV, anything nerd culture? And if I started doing that, would I continue calling this GG Gaming, or would I call it something else? And for the one or two people who listen to this podcast, you can write in the comments your thoughts on that. Would you like me to talk about extra stuff like that? One, it helps fill up the time so I can give to you about an hour show instead of just like the 20 minutes to a half hour. And if it's once a week, I'd really like to get out about an hour. I'd like to give you something to listen to that's worthwhile. But for now, unless people complain, for now I think I'm going to throw in some other stuff. And why it's called GG Gaming, if I'm going to talk about other stuff, I don't know. I really don't want to go too into detail with that stuff because I don't want to take away from the gaming aspect of it. But for those times where I have other people on, like if Kiba or somebody else can join as my co-host for said episode, then we'll talk more about video games. So this will be more like an evolving, changing format based on you, the viewer, what you want to listen to. Again, feel free to drop comments. You can help direct how, not direct, you can help suggest, or you should suggest how you would like to hear things. I usually try to customize or change. I like to make it so that it fits what the viewers want to hear, which will get harder. Hopefully, we'll get more viewers, but in that case, would get harder as time goes on, as the fan base gets bigger. Again, hopefully I get a big fan base. For all I know, I could stay with one or two people or potentially 0 people for the rest of my life. But, ooh, that would suck. But, no, the point is, I want to give something that you want to listen to. So if you have suggestions or comments, or you want to hear me talk about something in particular, go ahead. which could be saved for the fan comments, fan questions, tweets, and all that stuff. But as of right now, I don't have any because I just came back from a God knows how long hiatus. And I really hope that that doesn't happen again. I really want to stick to a weekly show. That would be really nice. I want to be able to stick to a weekly show. And if I drop off again, then something must have came up because that really sucks. I really want to do this weekly. So, off the top of my head, I don't quite remember all the other games coming out that I want to talk about. They kind of just come to me, trickle one at a time. I know that Resident Evil 7 is coming out, and boy, do I love me some Resident Evil. And Resident Evil 7, I gotta admit, is starting to grow on me. Initially, I was pretty much against it, because I was like, this has nothing to do with Resident Evil. This just looks like a survival. I mean, Resident Evil is survival horror. Yes, I know that, but it looked like a PT ripoff, but it's starting to grow on me. It's starting to resemble more of a traditional Resident Evil title. My only gripe is that it's first person. Resident Evil has never been first person, minus the spin-offs that they might have had that were in first person, which the only ones that come to mind are the on-rail shooters for Umbrella Chronicles and Darkside Chronicles, which broke the format anyway because that's what they were supposed to be. But I really don't know how I feel about this first-person shooter, and I really don't want it to keep going that route down the line. And part of me feels like the only reason they did that was to cater to the virtual reality support that they got, the VR headsets, because it's made for VR, but you can play it on your controller. I'm just like, all right, let's assume that VR becomes a flop. Are they going to go back to third-person style? Are they going to go back to over-the-shoulder? Or are they going to stick with their guns and go with first-person for the rest of it? And first-person can work out in horror. I've seen a lot. I don't typically like horror games. I like Resident Evil, but I typically don't like horror games. But I played... oh no, I was just thinking Dead Space, but that's not first-person. That's third-person. Dead Space was a lot of fun. That was third person, yeah. Have I played first-person horror? No. I've seen people play first-person horror games online. Not out of like a pure love for said game, but out of just curiosity. If I watch someone like Markiplier or somebody playing a game, like, oh, that's interesting. Especially Five Nights at Freddy's. But not to deviate from Resident Evil, I don't know how this is going to affect any mini games that it might have, because I am really big on the Mercenaries mode, particularly from Resident Evil 5. I know a lot of Resident Evil fans at least, hate that game, which I don't know why. Listen to me. Let me tell you. I think that game is a great game. And the gameplay style, the controls, are really great. It took, and I'm just talking about the controls right now. I'm not talking about the story, the characters, the setting, the atmosphere. I'm just talking strictly controls right now. Those controls took what was great from 4 and improved on them. There are no flaws, in my opinion. There are no flaws with the controls. That third person aspect of the controls are just, in my opinion, they're the perfect playstyle of Resident Evil. As for the setting, I mean, people were complaining that it was too bright, or, you know, it wasn't scary, it was an action game. All right. For those people, I say, all right, but that doesn't mean that style or that gameplay can't work in that style. If you've played the DLC, or, you know, got the Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition, or the HD version for PS4, I believe, PS4 and the Xbox One, and anything else it might have been for, I have no idea, PC, I don't know. But if you have played the Lost in Nightmares DLC, you know that it can be scary. Those controls work in a horror environment. So when 6 came out, personally feel like they threw out what they had in 5. And I am not saying this is what happened because, who am I to know? I'm not Capcom. I don't know anybody who works at Capcom. But I feel like what they did was they probably thought to themselves, "Oh God, people hated Resident Evil 5. We need to do something else." Which apparently 5 wasn't a flop. It sold millions. They made a lot of money off that game and still are. But I feel like because of complaints from fans, they probably thought to themselves, "All right, let's do action and horror." And your typical chase like Nemesis and your secret agent. They wanted to throw in everything to appeal to everyone, which was good and bad. But Resident Evil 5 into Resident Evil 6 kind of felt like they didn't know what their fans wanted, or they were trying to cater to everyone. Hey, if they got each individual scenario down, then it could have been great. But they messed with the controls to the point where certain things that did feel familiar no longer worked. Like there was, if you press back or technically if you press down and maybe the action button, depending on how you set up your control scheme on your controller, your character would do a quick turn. So you wouldn't have to, rotate all the way around because the controls are not like your typical platformer controls where you walk in the direction you're going. They're tank controls for anybody not familiar with it. You don't quite notice it in I keep saying third party. You don't quite notice it in third person view because you're watching where your character's turning. So if you didn't have a quick turn, you just hold left or right to turn around. Quick turn, just turned quickly. So, quick turning, they had it in 6, but it didn't work. And I don't know why. Because what they did was they took out the tank controls in 6. They had it so your character would walk in whatever direction you're holding. The camera would stay fixed in the initial direction you were facing. I believe you control the camera with the other joystick. So they kind of had this third-party camera. God damn, I keep saying party. They had this third-person camera fixed to this non-third-person-esque style. And it was really awkward. And so if your character, if you wanted the camera to do a quick turn, it didn't work. At least it never worked for me. So if I tried to quick turn, because apparently you could quick turn in Resident Evil 6, it would not work. So somebody who's played all the Resident Evil games, expecting to quick turn and have the camera, zip behind them so you can quickly see what's behind you, to using a quick turn that does not work, is very frustrating. Let me tell you. And I don't know what they were thinking, but the controls in 6, one of the things they added that I really liked was the counter. So if an enemy were to attack you, you'd counter. You press whatever action button in your character. If you got the timing right, you counter. So the Mercenaries mode basically became a counter fest. What they took out, which I did not like, was the context. Is that the right word I'm looking for? Context sensitive or contact sensitive, or basically, if you hit an enemy in a certain spot, they react in a certain way, and then you can follow up with a specific melee move, which really, really made Resident Evil 5, and actually 4 had a little bit of that too, but I believe 5 expanded on it. It made it really strategic. How am I going to shoot this this enemy? How am I going to follow up with it? Each character had their own melee responses, so if Wesker hit this character in the knee or the leg, and the character kind of bent down on their knees, Wesker would not be able to do a head, a neck snap or a throat slit, which are instant kills, or which they're instant kills, but they also prevent plagas from coming out. Wesker didn't have that, so like certain characters have their own unique ways of approaching enemies. I keep saying character. God damn it! They each had their own way of approaching kills for oh my god! I almost said character again. Take two. They each had their own method for approaching how to kill enemies. There we go. Enemies. I said enemies. So, Resident Evil 6, don't think they did that. They had, like, you shoot them in the face and I think in the body. And I don't even know if you can react to the body. You might be able to. But just 5 had that gameplay mechanic down. It took 4's already perfect system and made it even more perfect. As Cell from Dragon Ball Z would say, it made him even more perfect. So when 6 came out and I could not do any of that stuff, I was very frustrated. But there's two things that I like that they did add in 6. One, as I said, was the countering, and 2 was the ability to automatically initiate an action if you have the button already held down. For example, there's a ladder in the distance. You hold down X to run up to the ladder. Then when you get to the ladder, you would hit X to climb said ladder. That would be like in 5 or any of the previous ones. I say any of the previous ones, but there's really 4 or 5 because I think the other ones used loading screens. Okay, so when you do it in 6, and as long as you're holding X down, he or she, whoever you're playing as, will automatically jump onto that ladder and climb it. That was awesome. However, there was a strategy, at least for me, there was a strategy behind having to manually climb the ladder. And that was being able to avoid taking damage because you had invincibility frames on the ladder. Also, if I just wanted to run up to a ladder but not climb the ladder, I would start climbing the ladder, and that would be very frustrating. And I would drop a combo because instead of running up to where there was a ladder or something, instead of just running, turning around, and shooting, they would either run and jump off a ledge or climb a ladder, and I'd be like, no! And there goes my combo. So it was good and bad. I think it's something that could probably be worked with. But the countering was beautiful. It was beautiful. So if you take the countering system and you put it into the controls for 5, in my opinion, you have a perfect Resident Evil game control-wise. I'm not talking about the story because people complained about that. Personally, I loved it. To me, it felt like a conclusion to what they were building up to. If you took the first Resident Evil game up to 5, and you call that one giant arc, it would be like the Wesker saga. And I feel like with 6, they had a perfect opportunity to start building up a new saga. And instead, they told one complete story from beginning to end, which they could expand upon. They could take the whole Neo Umbrella concept. They could take the family that Simmons was a part of. They could use that as a jumping off point, and for 7 and on, they could start adding in more references to them, and then maybe at the end, or maybe in the next 1 or 2, you'll meet a villain who is like the head of the family, or the head of the family, and maybe they'll take and start over Neo Umbrella since Carla had died. Like, they have real potential to start a new arc, and I feel like they are afraid to do that, and they just want to do one-shots. And I don't like that, because to me, what the appeal of 5 was that they completed an arc, and they're not really. It doesn't seem like they're doing that. Well, Revelations 2, given it was a spin-off, yes, I know, it still felt like, I guess because it had Alex Wesker in it, it was, I guess, part of the quote-unquote Wesker arc. I believe it took place after 5, because Revelations 2 led into 6. So you can argue as part of it, but I still feel like 5 was the definitive end to the Wesker saga, and Revelations 2 being the next chronological inclusion to the series, probably would start this new one. And they could bring back Alex Wesker somehow, even though it wouldn't really make sense because she blew up with rockets at the end. But they could do something. I don't know. You know? But it's kind of funny. I feel like I've talked about this a million times before on the show. But when I get, which is just another reason why I would prefer a co-host, because they, I don't have to keep rambling on and on. Now I kind of got this fear that not fear, but now I'm kind of worried that I don't have anything to talk about next week. But at the same time, I could expand upon certain things. I could talk about some anime or manga or comics I've been reading. Again, that kind of takes away from the video game aspect, but I'd rather have content to talk about than not have anything to talk about at all, and just kind of go like, oh, yeah, I want to avoid that. It's not something like, it's not a podcast where I have, like ads to talk about, so I could, poke fun at the ads, or, at least right now I don't have a lot of, or I don't have any tweets or emails or comments to answer. So hopefully that'll build up. But as of right now, I don't really have anything else to talk about unless I go more into detail about the new Kingdom Hearts game coming out, which, I could talk more next week. Maybe by next week I'll have the new... No, the Pokemon... sorry, I'm not going to have Pokemon until at least the 25th to the 28th, according to Amazon. I had to go for the special edition that came with both games. I had to. But other than that, I saw Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 came out. I couldn't quite get into the first one, but I did want to use that as a segue to talk about Dragon Ball Super, because I like Dragon Ball Super. It is really, really awesome. And I was liking it from the first Battle of Gods arc. But at that point, it was just retelling the movies. But I was down with it. I was down like a clown Charlie Brown. Okay? That was pretty cool. And this new arc, the Future Trunks arc, is really, really awesome. And see, I'm a fan of the Dragon Ball Z games back, the Budokai era, not Budokai Tenkaichi. I just did not like the transition from 2D to 3D for Dragon Ball Z. I know a lot of people do. I just do not like that style of gameplay. I'll tell you what did make a good transition. Naruto Ultimate Ninja to Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. I feel like that still kept the idea of a 2D plane based on you dashing up to your character. And I know you could do that in the Tenkaichi styled games, but for some reason it still feels like impossible to pull off in combo. Like, I don't know. I know a lot of people like it. I just cannot get into it, and that disappoints me because I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball. So, God, sucks that I can't get into it. I remember I bought Xenoverse thinking, all right, I'm totally going to get into this. And I just could not get into it. There was such a huge... For me, I had such a problem with the difficulty. It was just way too hard. And I know people say get good, but there was something about, like, I could not wrap my head around the way the game was styled or the way the game played. I just couldn't. And I was just getting my ass handed to me. And eventually, and because when I would die, instead of picking up from the part of the battle I had left off in, because the battle would go into segments. So, like, you might fight Frieza in his first form, and then, like, you switch to another character or something, and then you fight him in the second form. But, like, it got up to the point where it took a while to get up to his final form. And I would always die at that point, and rather than taking me back to the cutscene where you just fight his final form, it would take me all the way back to the beginning. And after, like, a few tries of, like, really trying to do it, I would just waste so much time and keep getting my ass handed to me, and I could not, for the life of me, do it. And I just got so frustrated. I was like, this is not even fun. I can't do this. I cannot do this. So I just stopped playing. And I'm upset about that because I would like to have been able to enjoy it, but I just could not enjoy it. And I see Xenoverse 2, I believe it came out already. And that special edition looks super sexy. Like that, the steelbook case. I think there was a comic in there. That statue, everything about it was so awesome. But I was just like, I do not want to play the game. I was so tempted to be like, can I just buy the steelbook and like without the game? Like, I don't want to play the game. I just want the stuff it comes with. Ugh, it's such a shame. But yeah, I have some other games to talk about now that I think about it. Stuff's come back to me, but I'm going to save that for next week. I was debating on whether I even wanted to reach an hour by myself, but I think this is a good stopping point for doing it solo and not having anybody to bounce conversation off of. So, I guess that's going to wrap it up for now. I should be getting an intro and outro music hopefully soon. I have somebody who's going to help me with that, but they're working on music for one of the games that I'm doing the promotional comic for. So, they had said that they were going to get back to me after that because that's where their focus is going. And I think that once I get an intro and outro going, really get a structure going based on fan input, and by that I mean if I got tweets or emails or comments that can help give me topics to talk about. Even just like I said, even just if you guys want specific topics to talk about, I guess that would kind of fall in line with the fan. Again, tweet, email, comment, blah, blah, blah. But, any input, if you want to hear me talk about something, go ahead. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today. Again, right now, no outro. But, hey, what you going to do? Gotta make do. I figured I would talk about something before getting intro and outro and let you guys know, hey, I'm planning on getting intro and outro. Rather than just waiting even longer until I get that. So, alright guys, for now, that's it. I will talk to you guys next week. It's like Saturday, 2:14 a.m., so it's a Friday night into Saturday. I would like to do an episode every weekend. So, at some point between Friday and Sunday, I'd like to get a new episode up. I don't know what time, as I nail things down more, structured. Hopefully we'll get something going, maybe even do live shows, who knows. That's something I would love to do. But again, until next time, good gaming and good night.